everyone, and welcome to 2025 on the Speed Beauty channel. Oh God, it's good to be back in the chair chatting to you guys, although it's kind of like a one-way chat. But I might do a little Q&A in a couple of weeks and see if I can extract more information that you might be more curious to know. Anyway, sorry I've got my hat on. Oh, with a little bit of, oh, that's Willow. She's eating. I'm not infested with moths. I have dog bites. More dog chat soon whilst I do the makeup. Sit tight. This is what you're in store for today. How are you all? I hope you got through it okay. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had a relaxing break. I hope you've eaten and drunk anything and everything that you wanted. We didn't have any sickness this year, which is wonderful. So we had a really, really special time. We had to have a little mini tree because of Willow, so she didn't jump up. But apart from that, everything was just lovely. So here we are back for another new year, and this is the time where I love to say to you, just kind of send me any questions that you want, things that you want to know. Should we just kind of like go back to a few like basic things, just do, I don't know, best foundations, best concealers? Is that of interest to you guys, or would you just, and do you just enjoy the looks? Let me know. I know you will. I love your comments. I love your comments. I look at them on the train, if I'm waiting to pick up Stan from school, in the bath, wherever. And it always brings me so much joy. So thank you for all your comments. I do appreciate them. And I think probably one of the best Christmas gifts, which is quite a unique one for me, really can't speak yet, need to do some mouth exercises. They're really good, those people, aren't they, that do all those exercises. I've tried, and their faces and cheeks look incredible. Anyone done it? Anyone really achieved success from it? Yes, here we go. The brain pinging all over the place. My Christmas gift was receiving so many pictures of my lovely brushes that you were given by your daughters, husbands, for yourself. It's just really lovely, and I love the fact that you can do the makeup along with me. I just wanted to answer a couple of questions re the brushes, and the biggest one was cleaning. So there's a couple of products. There's actually one product that I would recommend. I'll show you what I use at work, and I don't use it all the time, but if I've done a shoot that's been really busy, heavy pigment loaded, using lots of dense kind of waxy products, the IsoClean is amazing. Or if I've got someone who's been a little bit poorly, or I'm kind of working quickly between clients, this is really great. It strips and cleans the brushes very, very well. It's obviously quite a strong chemical, so I don't want to be using it against my skin every day. So this is what I came across recently on Amazon. I can't remember whether I've showed you this or not. Eco Tools makeup and brush sponge shampoo, fragrance free. It's really nice and it's really effective. So I've been using that after every makeup. Sometimes I just use Fairy Liquid, but I wouldn't use that all the time because it does strip and you want to have a little bit of nourishment and hydration for your brushes. Now, if you were wise and you kept the little nets, they're really perfect, especially for the beautiful pointed brushes. They're really, really beautiful to keep them in to dry. Lie them flat if possible. And if you just did them once a week, that would be great, because most people probably do them every 6 months. But those are the products that I would recommend to just kind of keep your brushes super, super clean. Don't really dry them standing up, because then the water seeps down into the wooden part of the brush and over time it can cause rot. But that's over a lot of time and if they're very wet. So just lay them on a towel, ready for the next day. Right, shall we begin? My little hattie on, keep you warm, put some dry shampoo on to make my roots a bit lighter. And I've gone for a bit more of a centre parting at the moment. I did this thing with Sam McKnight. Yes, Sam McKnight, the hairdresser, Princess Diana's hairdresser. He's got his own hair brand. And he did my hair into centre parting, which I have worn over the years. But I've got this sort of like funny part thing here, so I've just kind of gone to the side. But he's right, it definitely lifts my face. So we're going with that for January at least. Right, what have I been loving and what have I been using? quite simple makeup, I have to say. I have been using and loving the Sarah Chapman Skin Assist, and it's her SPF 50, just because I've really only been at home and walking the dog and seeing friends. I'll just do one side of my face. It's just got that lovely 5 denier finish, which kind of evens out my irregular skin tone whilst giving me SPF 50 coverage at the same time. So it just kind of kills 2 birds with 1 stone. Obviously the light is very low here, but as I've mentioned before, I'm just having these sort of just laser facials, not too extreme at all, once a month. I've got 4 to try and brighten my complexion. So I want to make sure that I'm not having, I'm not ruining that by exposing my skin to sunlight, apart from the fact that you should wear, or it's very, very helpful and important that you wear SPF every day. But in the winter, maybe in England anyway, SPF 50 is not necessary. SPF 30 is just perfect, but it doesn't really matter because this product is so lovely and it feels like a serum and it just gives me the coverage that I need. So that's kind of basically what I've been doing. In terms of the laser facials, I'm going to wait before I forget a good before and after and then come back to you on that. So bear with me on that. I do find that my skin isn't reacting as well as I hoped. Have you ever had that experience? I'm curious to know, because they're quite pricey, and you want it to have a good result quickly, don't you? Obviously. But my skin is quite stubborn. How have you reacted to laser facials? Would love to know that. Sorry, I'm trying to take these out of the bag I've got here. I might just bring the camera down just a little bit, and I'm clonking away as I do that, which I'm sure is quite annoying. Anyway, let's just do this quickly, Carol, and get that out. Okay, so let's go in with a little bit of concealer. So I've been using the Dior Skin Correct, which is just beautiful and so decadent. And I've been applying it just literally straight from the applicator to these kind of areas of my face. Yeah, so the makeup look is kind of what I've been wearing over this holiday season. I will then take the O3 lovely doe foot brush, because this just really enables you to push the product into the skin without it moving, which is so key. So many brushes are big and dense and absorb the product, which is great because a lot of people tend to put makeup on and then they take it off again with their brushes because they like it to be softer. But you're wasting product and you just want to get the benefit of what you're doing. But people get quite nervous when they put makeup on the face, when they see there's a change. Now you know from watching me put my makeup on for years now, years, I'm talking about 8, 9 years, something like that, that, you know, it looks a bit scary initially because you're taking all the detail out of your face, in your skin. So you make your eyes look smaller, everything looks smaller and kind of quite pinched because you're just minimizing your features, but then you bring them back to life very, very softly. And that literally would be it for me, just for this moment in time. I then went and got myself the bronzer, which I think is the one that Flora used. This is shade June. It was in our first film. And I loved this colour because, as you can see, it is so good. It's like a warm caramel. It's such a lovely colour for pale skin in this kind of like wintry time, but you still want that warmth, but you don't want to have that complete contrast of using a bronzer when your skin is pale, so you really have to blend it in. So it's been a really, really nice kind of wintry sort of sun-kissed look, or you just want that kind of like soft tonal finish. And I've been using it just with the same brush because this brush is, again, very dense. So it's good for applying cream products. I have a feeling, I should have checked this before, sorry, that I think Flore's was more of a powder because her skin looked more velvety compared to the makeup by Mario, which I've really been used probably all last year. This is less shiny, but it's so nice just to kind of add that little bit of warmth, adding a little bit of shape in. And what you could do again, going in with the same brush, turning it around, tipping your head back and placing that into your socket. I'll just do this one eye to show you. So literally tipping it back, placing that in the socket so you don't get it on the lid, you're just getting it on the top half. Can you see how that just literally lifts that eye? Because you're just knocking back that highlight that kind of makes it heavy. So that's really lovely. It's amazing that when you put your makeup on, and you can do it very, very subtly, but then it makes such a difference. But when you're making yourself up, and please, I really hope by now all of my lovely followers do their makeup towards the daylight with a mirror that's at their face level. Mine's a little bit lower. I wish they did higher stemmed mirrors actually. Who's got a really good high stemmed mirror? Like some of them you can bring up. I've just got like this little sort of vanity mirror here. Oh dear, sorry for all those fingerprints. But they're still a bit low. I think if we could make ourselves up like this, that would be great. La la la. But it does make us look better and therefore feel better. So that's basically been my skin. I have loved a fresh cheek though. Maybe I'll come back to that in a second. I love a little winter cheek, especially when I put my little beanie on, because it kind of, I don't know, it makes me feel, I was going to say the word cute, but that sounds ridiculous. I just feel healthy and fresh, I suppose. I'm going to go in with my Trini. So this is a product that I now kind of use all the time, Miracle Blur, just to soften this texture of my skin, which I wonder whether with the laser as well, that will help. Oh gosh, gang. It's so nice, isn't it, to be back? More fun ahead, and I've got a couple more guests coming in. I think you've really enjoyed the guests, which is great. Right, let's brush these brows through, but I'm actually going to probably just use a little bit of the Wonder Brow ink on my tails. This is a nice, soft, warm makeup. Kind of brings out your features, but it doesn't necessarily read too much as makeup. It's all kind of like soft and blurry. And you know, there's so many different kind of colorways, which I think is what you like my videos for. That the makeup is sort of soft, but we have lots of different tones and textures. So just because you want to wear a natural makeup because it looks fresh and modern, you still want to have fun with different colour palettes and tones depending on what you're wearing, depending on your mood, etc. It doesn't have to be heavy and theatrical. There we are, that's just given me what I need. And I will just brush through just to disperse the ink again, just with this little spoolie there. Okay, I went in, I probably won't use it today, but I went in to And Other Stories, and they had this really nice palette. Well, I can use it today actually. What am I talking about? I'll use the 09 brush, which is a really beautiful beveled brush, which helps you get a nice socket crease. What I loved about this is got a really nice selection of mattes and wearable metallics, and they're quite buttery. I'm going to go in with the middle toned, and again, when I'm using a beveled brush like this, I need to disperse the pigment evenly so that when I place it in the socket, it just basically does the work for me, and it's just like a little half moon shape. Again, because my lid is heavier and it can make my eyes look small, if I want to have a kind of like wide awake look, I just need to make sure that I'm pushing that socket back. So it's just all about playing with light and dark. Okay, so let's just see if I need to go back in again to the pan just a little bit, twisting it round and round and round and round. And then you might just want to twist it again on the back of your hand. This even placement and dispersion of eyeshadow is what will just give you that flawless look and that kind of effortless look that just, you can't really see where it starts and where it finishes. And then if you finish there, you want to just take a nice soft blender, very delicately, which will just feather the edges. La la. Now, I know the lovely Ree. Really Ree, she is on Instagram, and she has, I've used her cream bronzers before, and this is her Reason Lid Elixir. I've used this pretty much every day. It is so soft and lovely. It's a cream. I'm going to show you straight from my finger rather than a brush. And it's kind of like this finish, okay? So it's just very, very soft and slightly reflective, a bit like a highlighter. But as I put it on my lid, for me, it just freshens up the texture of my skin. Takes away kind of any bluey grey if I haven't put too much concealer on, but just gives that really kind of like fresh, youthful texture to my eye. Again, like I said, it's super, super soft, but it's nice and cooling on application. And it's not sparkly, it's not iridescent. It just kind of gives that lovely sort of fresh dewiness. But that's what I want, just to kind of clean up my complexion. And I could probably take my baby bud, put a little bit on my hand and just take this over my tear duct. Now this won't be, again, the same action, twisty, twisty, just across here. And just across here. Again, it's super, super light, but it just adds the brightness, but it doesn't look like, you know, banging makeup, like a big bit of sparkle. It's just really, really, really soft. Okay, good. Another one of my holiday favourites has been these beautiful Vive eye wands. This shade is Espresso. I did go for hazelnut first of all, but hazelnut is the darkest shade. It's a nice matte shade, and I've just loved sort of running that across my eyelashes like that, and then kind of like smudging in. Really not to create a line as such. Get back in with baby bud. Just a little bit of depth, but it's lasted really well, stayed in place, it hasn't faded. Doof. And that's just kind of all I needed. So I sort of do it over the fullest part, but I'm literally doing it on the lashes, okay, not across the lid, which makes all the difference, so that when you open your eye you see it, but it's not a heavy lid. And then using a nice firm brush that looks and acts just like a cotton bud, just gives it that nice bit of depth. But yeah, I didn't want to go for the darkest colour because I didn't want it to be too heavy, but I ended up going for the darkest colour because it just had that punch of depth, which is what I needed, but I wanted it only in a little bit. Just a little bit. Now, did I lay out mascara? Obviously, I've just been obsessed with Maybelline, but I need to go to the shops and buy another one. But I'll try. This is it. This is the last time, I promise you, I'm going to use Sky High. Not on the video at all, but just before I get a new one. I've loved this in brown as well, if you love using brown mascara. I think for my clients that are like supernatural, very freckly, and just don't like too much of anything, this is fabulous. Oh, I was going to mention to you that the amazing Lisa Eldridge has brought to market some beautiful pinpointing concealers. So I will show you those. I should have used them. I'll use them in the next videos coming up. But they are really, really beautiful formulas. So they look like pens. I'll get them out in a second. I'm sure you've seen them if you're makeup addicts anyway, like me. So they're these really beautiful designed pens and great shades that you place and you pinpoint certain areas. So maybe it's like a little vein or a spot, but it's very dense, but it blends out beautifully. I'll show you. So this is when you need to change your mascara. God, I'm such a great influencer, aren't I? Using mascara that's really, really dry. You know, when you just don't get that magic. Yes, the lashes look great, but I'm really having to kind of like dig deep to get that nice lift from my mascara. But it still, do you know what? It still doesn't flake. It just stays in place. I hate flaky mascara, and I love the Charlotte Tilbury push-up lashes, and sometimes I'll sacrifice a little bit of a splodge just because of the effect of the thickness and lifting effect of my lashes. But day to day, I just like a mascara that stays put. Right, she's looking a bit fresher, isn't she? Okay, so here you are. Well, I've got the lovely Lisa pens. Okay, well, I've got one pen here that I was using yesterday. So let's have a look at this shade. This is number 4. Look how elegant, really beautiful. You've got the shade at the end and you've got the little bit here, which is obviously propelling, so you don't need to sharpen it. So if I want to cover up this area of pigmentation here, I'll just scribble on that area. And if I want to just tidy up underneath my nose, or maybe some extra pigmentation here, I would do that. And I wouldn't go in with a brush because you want to save it. You just want to blur it into the skin. Look how well it unifies with the skin. So if you've got a few little veins across your face, or like me around your nose, you can just plant it, and it's so delicate and fine. And it lasted really well. Sometimes you can get these really dense, beautiful, opaque cream concealers, but then they just sort of dissolve after a while. This lasted really, really well. And Lisa, obviously Pinpoint concealing has been around for forever. But I think Lisa really was the first one that sort of spoke about it and sort of commercialized it and explained it in that way. Whereas as a makeup artist, you would just sort of do that. There's the little scars here that I got on my chin. You probably can't see them with the light coming straight on, but that's just lifted that grey area there. And also similarly, perfecting your lip. Which is really nice. Just to give that light underneath so that when you put the lipstick on, it all comes together. So these came out yesterday, literally, I believe. I mean, it's called Lisa allergies Seamless Skin Pinpoint Concealer Micro Correcting Pencil. So if you're in the market for something like that, I would definitely go and try. Okay, so let me put my pink cheeks on, which have been Dior. I've had Dior cheeks all winter. So I'm going to go in with my blending brush, number 6, and the Dior blush is this. Now, she is hot, but she's really, really soft. And I was using a lot of cream blushes and they were really getting into my pores. And obviously I didn't want that. And I was having to blend more because it was going into my pores. I was having to put a little bit of primer on. And the soft focus effect of these powder blushes are just like nothing else. And it's not too deep, it's just fresh, and it just gives such a lift to my makeup, even though I've just sort of done the warmth and I like that sort of caramelly finish. I've loved having these little cheeks on. Looks like I've had 2 glasses of wine before I've arrived anywhere, but when the light is low and the days are dull, God, you just need a pick-me-up, don't you? And this is a pick-me-up blush. But saying that, don't be scared, because I've actually placed the brush, look, quite well. Didn't even tap on my hand, and it's not too bright. I won't go too Aunt Sally. But I'll place the colour on with these sort of soft blushes. This is why I love this number 6 brush so much, because it just allows you to put the colour where you want it. And then you can just go in and just trim the edges with a nice little bit of softness. And doesn't it just, look at my face, it kind of really lifts my face and just gives me a little bit more youth and vibrancy and sort of a bit more cheeky. Like I've done all those facial exercises that I was talking about, right? Now, my favourite lip, oh God, I was gifted this really beautiful wheel of colour, the new Dolce & Gabbana lipsticks. And this shade, bear with me, these glasses, which are also filthy, Caroline, oh my goodness, I will just use my shirt to clean them, are from Good Lookers. I think I've linked them before. They're like 20 quid. I've got like plus 1.5, I think. This shade So this one is called My Comfy Matte, and it is My Comfy Matte B183. Now, I've loved this because, so we'll see what you think. It's different. It's a different shade to what I would normally choose, okay? But I loved it because it just looks so soft and just like my lips. But I'll just get on with it, shall I? It is different, right? Now watch. It's like my lips. It doesn't really read as lipstick, and I love that because it's matte. But it's just really soft. It wears well. It doesn't dehydrate my mouth. How nice it is to have that line already underneath your lip before you've even done your lipstick, because I like to blur this in. This is a lipstick that I've put on and then blurred, which I'm really liking with these soft colours. Kind of makes my lips look fuller. Now tell me you thought, ooh, when she first put that on, when I first put that on, God, I'm start talking about myself in third person. And then you thought, oh no, maybe it's a bit too orangey, maybe it's a bit too reddy. But then it kind of works. And I think it's just been very, very flattering on my lips from a distance. Maybe it's better. I'm now second guessing myself. No, I really do love this lipstick. But Dolce & Gabbana, this texture is absolutely beautiful, and the packaging is really slimline, and they've got some really lovely kind of warm, I don't know, it's kind of just like a very warm, cozy, blushy pink. It's lovely, it's really lovely, but it's not a colour that I would have normally chosen. But I've really enjoyed wearing it over this sort of time of minimalism makeup. We're not bothering too much. I might just pop a little bit of hydration in my hair, so I'll use the Nourishing Balm by Sam McKnight. If you've used any of Sam's products, we just love the smell and the colour of them. But my hair is quite dry because I've been waving it a lot more. Honestly, I felt better if my hair's better rather than my face over this time. And this just takes that sort of like frizziness out of it. But I think it's quite nice to have the centre parting for a bit of a change. It would be more something that I would have done in the summer, but I quite like it now. There we go. That is this week's look, the first week of 2025. I'm wishing you all the love and luck for the weeks and months to come. Let's stay together and think about any questions that you want to ask me, and maybe I'll collate them all and just do a kind of like Q&A to make it a little bit more interesting, and tell me whether you want more reviews or whether you just like the looks and the chit chat. I don't mind. I'm here to serve. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.